Ahmad Muraywid was born in the year 1886 into the influential Mahdawi tribe of southwestern Syria. When the French invaded Syria in 1919, Ahmad Muraywid assembled a rebel army and led battles against the French invaders in southern Syria. The French invasion of Syria was part of the Anglo-French plan to create artificial borders in the Middle East and divide the region based on areas of British and French control. After these borders were created, Ahmad Muraywid realized that his hometown was located in between the new borders of Syria, Jordan, Palestine, and Lebanon. However, he completely disregarded these borders and moved in and out of French and British territories, collaborating with revolutionaries from all across the Levant. He created a network of revolutionaries that transcended borders and threatened British and French authorities across the Middle East. Ahmad Muraywid assembled a rebel army of 2,000 men and conducted anti-French operations in southwestern Syria. When the French conquered southern Syria in 1920, Ahmad Muraywid and his rebel army hid themselves amongst the villagers and conducted guerrilla warfare against the French army. On 23rd June 1921, Ahmad Muraywid and his rebels attempted to assassinate the French High Commissioner Henry Giroud during his visit to the town of Al-Qunaitra in southwestern Syria. This assassination attempt failed, and the French identified Ahmad Muraywid as the one who planned the assassination. Therefore, the French began a mission to find him and execute him. Soon after, Ahmad Muraywid and his rebel army crossed the Syrian border and fled to British-controlled Jordan, where he continued to launch raids against French occupation forces in Syria. After fleeing to Jordan, his tribe was targeted by the French. His livestock was confiscated and the homes of his family were demolished in his home village of Jubbat al-Khashab. Hundreds of women and children from his village were also arrested and tortured. The French did not know that Ahmad Muraywid had fled the country, and they continued to harass his tribe and search for him in southwestern Syria. During his time in Jordan, Ahmad Muraywid recruited hundreds of men to join his rebel army. Ahmad Muraywid also recruited many tribal leaders in western Jordan and ordered them to launch raids into British military bases and Zionist colonies in Palestine. These raids were the first of their kind. The British reacted by bombing anyone from Jordan who tried to cross the border into Palestine. As a result, Sheikh Qaid Muflih Ubaidat, who was a tribal leader that Ahmad Muraywid had appointed to lead raids into Palestine, was killed in 1920 by British aeroplanes. This made Sheikh Ubaidat the first Jordanian to be killed in Palestine while fighting against the Zionists. At this point, the British had no idea that these raids were being coordinated by Ahmad Muraywid, nor did they know of any of his activities on the Jordan-Syria border. However, the British eventually became aware of Ahmed Muraywid's operations. In 1924, Ahmed Muraywid launched a major attack on a French military checkpoint on the border between Jordan and Syria, killing dozens of French soldiers. After this attack, the French identified Ahmed Muraywid and put pressure on the British to expel him from Jordan and hand him over to the French. In the summer of 1924, under pressure from the British, King Abdullah of Jordan released a statement calling for the expulsion of Muraywid. Therefore, Ahmed Muraywid and his army of Mujahideen fled further south until they reached Hijaz, which was controlled by Sharif Ali bin Hussein. Sharif Ali welcomed Ahmed Muraywid and allowed him to set up a base in Hijaz, where he continued to recruit more rebels to join his cause. Ahmed Muraywid returned to Syria in 1925, when a major nationwide revolt erupted against the French. However, he could not risk crossing Syria through Jordan as he was wanted by Jordanian authorities. Therefore, Ahmed Muraywid traveled with his army to Iraq, where he recruited even more men and eventually entered Syria through Iraq. After re-entering Syria with an even larger army of over 4,000 men, Ahmed Muraywid attacked French checkpoints and fought French forces in cities such as Damascus and Ghouta. Despite inflicting huge losses on the French and putting up a fierce fight against the invaders, Ahmed Muraywid was eventually killed in battle in the year 1926. The French then took his body and displayed it in the center of Damascus. The people of Damascus eventually buried him, and thousands of people attended his funeral.